The Deal King is in the building, everybody! How are we doing? Y'all been on holiday for a while now, but I'm back, and we really look at some goddamn deals. Don't summon me unless there's some real deals to be had. Let's look at these things.
Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right?
Thank you for that lovely intro. Like I said in my previous summer sale video, I don't think this sale is particularly good. I think it is a pretty average PlayStation Store sale, but there are a lot of things on sale here. We've got about 1,400 games discounted, and there are a ton of games under $5. So if you're a penny pinching gamer wanting to buy some games for less than $5, then this is the video for you. We're going to take a look at 32 games under $5 in this video, and we're going to quick rapid fire through them so that this video doesn't end up being an hour long. Now, if you want to see a video about games under $10, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button. We have to get this video to over 250 likes if we want to see more of these sales videos, because unfortunately they're just not doing as well as I would hope they would be for the YouTube channel. Make sure you go and leave a like so we can get that next video, and make sure you leave a comment down below because it helps me out with the algorithm enormously. Let me know what you think of this shirt and what you think of the games in this video. Let's rapid fire through some of these. Some indie, some AAA, but most of all, they're all pretty decent. We Were Here is $2.49. We Were Here is the co-op puzzle game that came out a couple of months ago on the PlayStation 4, and it's been out on Steam for a really long time. It's a pretty easy platinum trophy if you're looking to get a platinum with a friend, and the whole game requires you to play with a co-op partner. Now, this game was free when it first launched back in, I think, May or April, and now it's only $2.49, normally $5. I mean, it's still a pretty cheap price for this game, but it's actually a pretty little fun adventure as well. The Dwarves, which we see on sale all the time, but this time it's $1.49. I think it's the cheapest we've ever seen it, and you can save an additional 10% with PlayStation Plus. It's so cheap. It's so cheap. I know the genre isn't particularly popular, but if you're into tactical role-playing games, this is a good one to check out for only $1.50. I mean, and the price being so low means the risk is also kind of low on picking this one up as well. Hidden Agenda is $5. This is one of PlayStation's PlayLink titles where you play with your mobile phone. All of the gameplay takes place on a cell phone, which is kind of interesting. It's a little bit different, and the initiative probably didn't work as well as Sony would have hoped, otherwise they would have probably continued them. Very similar to the Jackbox games, all of the PlayLink games involve using an app on your phone and playing with a friend or a loved one sitting at home on your couch. This one here is actually developed by Supermassive. These are the guys who made Until Dawn, and this isn't as good as Until Dawn, but it does follow a very similar trajectory in terms of solving a mystery and being a detective. Manual Samuel, this is another easy trophy hunting game. $1.99 for this one, but this is a funny co-op-based kind of game where you have to basically do everything for this guy. He's running manually, and all of the controls that you do are to keep him alive. You got to make sure he breathes and eats and walks and things like that. It's one of those things, kind of like I Am Bread, where you're messing around with a silly control scheme, and it's kind of a bit of a troll game, but it is fun. There's definitely fun to be had, especially for $2. Another PlayLink title is Knowledge is Power. This one is $5, and probably the best of all the PlayLink titles in my personal opinion. This one here is basically Buzz back from the PlayStation 2 days. Man, Buzz was so good. Miss Buzz. This is good. It's a fun little quiz game that you can play with your friends on the couch. It's not the most revolutionary game. For $5, you're gonna get a decent amount of fun out of this one. Lichdom Battle Mage is a game I recommend all the damn time. It's a first-person action-adventure game, or action-adventure RPG, where you play as a mage, shooting powers out of each... You shoot magic, you do magic. I remember when this game first launched, it had terrible frame rates, and it has since been fixed. It does come down to like $1.49 pretty much every sale though. But yeah, if you've only got $1.50 to spend, you're getting an RPG here for $1.50, not bad. Live Lock is a isometric shooter style game. $5 for this one here. Easy platinum trophy as well for trophy hunters out there. I think it's going to take you like 10 hours or so. Very similar to Alien Nation, Dead Nation in terms of that isometric style of gameplay. Onrush. Now, I know this has been on PlayStation Plus, but it's actually pretty decent. It's made by the ex-developers who worked on the MotorStorm franchise for Sony. And these guys have gone ahead and made this game. It's $2.49 because it absolutely flopped. But it has a lot of that MotorStorm style DNA in it. If you enjoyed those old school games on the PlayStation 3 or the PS2, you'll enjoy this as well. Very frantic, arcadey racing in a world where we don't have a ton of arcadey racing. That's You is another PlayLink title for $5. This one here is about... It's kind of like about lying and figuring it out who the person is. So you have to answer a question truthfully, and then it puts it up on the board, and you have to guess which person in the room the answer kind of corresponds to, and who's lying and who's telling the truth. Again, like all the PlayLink titles, they're pretty easy plats if you're a trophy hunter. This one here is not bad. You kind of have to know the people you're playing with quite well, whereas the previous ones, that's not as much of a requirement. Kona is it's like a horror walking sim style game. It's $3. I think I paid $30 for this game when it first launched on the PS4. I actually really enjoyed it as well. Cool mystery that goes alongside it. I won't go into that because it's more fun to jump in blind, but it is a cheaper feeling walking sim where like it doesn't look quite as good as you would expect it to. So just go on mind with that. Abzu. Abzu is free. Why are you telling us to buy Abzu? Because it's actually a really good game. Even though it was a free game that came out a few months ago as the play at home or stay at home initiative, Abzu is just a good game. It's not as good as its predecessors, Journey and Flower and Flow, things like that, but it does do a lot of stuff that's kind of unique that those games didn't do, and it's a pretty fun sort of 2-hour long adventure. Alekhine's Gun, which is basically a ripoff of Metal Gear Solid. If you can't afford MGS5, Alekhine's Gun is the next best option on PlayStation 4. It's one of those AA sort of taking everything from this game and not doing any of it very well. It's not amazing, but it does do Metal Gear Solid kind of okay. It's a weird one for sure. Alekhine's Gun, $3. Dirt 4 for $5. This game is great. I really love Dirt 4. I played so much of this game when it first launched. Really, really good. More probably arcadey style rally racing versus sim racing. There are simmy elements in there, but I would probably lean a little bit more towards arcade. It's got a really cool soundtrack, it's got really cool racetracks, and it's just got a ton of variety in this game as well that I think some of the previous Dirt games were lacking. This one here is a solid pickup for $5. Highly recommend this one. If you're not after Dirt 4, Dirt Rally is here as well. I think this is a weaker game in my personal opinion though, but it is discounted for $5 as well. Again, another awesome rally experience, but if I'm tossing up between the two of them, I would say Dirt 4 is personally better to me. I don't know, I could be in the minority there. Who knows? I have no idea. Mad Max is $5. If you're a trophy hunter, stay away from it because the servers have been shut off and the platinum is unattainable. I know, shocking. But if you're into third-person action games, this is a really fun third-person action game. It's very similar in terms of gameplay style to Batman, the Arkham series, in terms of how it plays with your dodge, roll, attack mechanics. It has this massive open-world desert where you have to drive around, clear up bases, finish. It's not a bad game. It's pretty fun. It does have a ton of repetition, especially if you're going for that 100%, but now that it's not even achievable, that doesn't really even matter. MGS5 Ground Zero is the basically demo version of Metal Gear Solid The Phantom Pain. There is no way Konami should have charged for this game, and when it came out, I think they charged like $30 for it as well. This game is $3, and it's probably worth $3. I think it should have been free. Basically, it shows off all the mechanics of MGS5 The Phantom Pain in this kind of like small, isolated environment. The narrative and everything is very, very stunted and very short, but it did have input from Kojima. One of Kojima's last titles at Konami before he went on to make Death Stranding. So if you're looking for some of that old school Kojima DNA, or you're just looking for a Metal Gear Solid game because you don't want to play Alekhine's Gun, you can pick this one up. Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor Game of the Year Edition is $5. Again, another similar one, very like Mad Max in terms of gameplay style. Hack and slash, but that Batman combat style, I believe, is in here as well. The other cool thing that this does, it has this thing called the Nemesis system, where all of the enemies that you kill or get killed by have this hierarchy, where if they kill you, they level up and they get stronger, and then you have to take them out later on in the game as well. It has a really unique thing that no other games have tackled. I personally didn't enjoy this one as much because it's very heavy on the Lord of the Rings lore, which I'm not super familiar with, which meant that to me, it just didn't quite cut the mustard. Plants vs. Zombies 2 Garden Warfare, or Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2 is also down to $5. I know that the latest Plants vs. Zombies game is free as PlayStation Plus is offering for August. This here is probably the best version of the Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare style. Third-person competitive shooter here that's kind of more for kids. A very Overwatchy vibe in terms of how it plays with different classes and styles. I would recommend checking out the free version on PlayStation Plus because it's not bad. And then if you really enjoy that, you could go and pick up this one as well for $5 because it is a much better game to that one. Bit of a random indie game here, Super Mash, and I like this game a lot. It's very different and left field for a list like this, but it's $5, which is a good price for it. And the way the game works is it allows you to mix game genres. So you can combine like these different game genres and so say like fighting and platforming, and it combines these two things and it creates this cool 8 or 16-bit game utilizing those two genres, and it's all randomized and procedural, and there's so many different options for game genres that you can create, and it's all part of the narrative of the game. You're playing in a video game shop where you have to combine and mash up different genres. a shooter with a platformer, or a shooter or a first-person shooter with a platformer, and it's crazy. There's so much variety and uniqueness in here, and it's got a lot of humor and tone to it as well. I really dug this when I played it last year when it came out. Styx Shards of the Darkness is a stealth action game. This is actually based on the Of Orcs and Men overarching franchise of games, which didn't do very well and kind of got forgotten about. This one here is probably better than the original game, which is more of a third-person strategy RPG. This one here is more of a stealth action game though, which is probably a little bit more accessible for most people. If you're looking for a more slower paced experience, this is a good option. Dead Island, which I talk about literally every time it goes on sale, is down to $4.49 for both games. That's Dead Island and it's Riptide, which is the like 1.5, basically DLC for Dead Island that they charged a full price game for. Big mistake, big mistake. Dead Island is basically Fallout 4 with zombies. That's all there really is to it. It's probably not as good as Dying Light these days because that's kind of the more superior version of Dead Island. But if you're looking for that old school zombie game, it's still so great. It really, really is. Extinction, which is basically Attack on Titan the game, which is kind of weird because we do actually have an Attack on Titan game, which is not that bad. This is essentially that. You get to roam around the village and take out these giant orc Titan things by slashing them with your swords. It's literally Attack on Titan, but in a budget AA game. For Honor is discounted down to $4.49 as well. This is a multiplayer heavy game, so keep that in mind if you're going for it. But For Honor is basically this game where you play as these different fighting classes, samurais, knights, Vikings, and you have to all compete in these giant, large-scale battles. It's kind of like a souped-up version of Chivalry to a degree, because it had a lot more budget and backing from Ubisoft to make this one happen. But if you're looking for a competitive sort of game that is a little bit different to your traditional shooters and things like that, it's a good one for you to check out. One of my favorite games is Bloodstained Curse of the Moon. Metroidvania style game here for $4.49, and it's not too bad. In my opinion, Curse of the Moon is better than the actual Bloodstained game, the mainline Bloodstained game. It's just good. Castlevania 3 vibes here, 100%. Dear Esther is another walking simulator. I know I've talked about these a little bit. $2 for this one. It's a pretty short experience. I think it's like 5 hours or so, and it is a little bit slower, so it might not be so good for younger gamers. But if you're looking for a chill walking sim, I believe it's like critically acclaimed as well. I don't know. This is old. I played this a long time ago. I'm talking like 2014, I think. Friday the 13th is down to $3.74. I haven't played this since it launched, and unfortunately they stopped developing this one, but it's kind of like an isometric horror game, like Dead by Daylight, except this one here stopped getting content published for it because of some licensing problems that they encountered through the development of it. Don't know how rampant or dead the servers are, but it's there. Homefront: The Revolution, it's a pretty bad first-person shooter. Honestly, it was plagued by development issues, but it's down to $3 if you're looking for an FPS game to play. It's an option for you. Agents of Mayhem, same thing kind of applies. I personally didn't enjoy this. It's $4 though, very similar to Saints Row, but without all the humor and fun of Saints Row. This was their attempt of making, I guess, like a squad shooter that is a single player game without any of the fun, silly, quirky elements of Saints Row. It was a weird choice. I don't know why they didn't just make another Saints Row game. Battlefield 1, easily the best Battlefield game in my personal opinion. I know I'm going to get hate for that in the comments, but $5 for this one. It is free as part of the PlayStation Plus PS5 games collection thing, so keep that in mind as well if you're planning on getting a PS5 in the future. Might not be worth jumping into, but it's good. It has these cool little single player stories, like 5 of them, which are all very different and unique, and then it has a really good multiplayer component to it as well. All of the Lego games are discounted. I've got Lego Jurassic here for $5, but they're all discounted down to about that $5 to $7 price point. Happens pretty much every sale, but fun hack and slash game, and really good if you're looking for a co-op partner to play with as well, because you can play through the whole game co-op together. Easy trophy game for trophy hunters. Easy, easy, easy. Mount and Blade is basically Chivalry again, but an even cheaper version of Chivalry. This is the famous like PC game. It was massive on PC, I think, back in like 2011, 2010, way back when. These giant, large-scale warfare battles. It's probably been overshadowed, honestly, by Chivalry, even by games like For Honor at this point as well. So, you know, keep that in mind too. Payday 2 Crime Wave Edition, fantastic 4-player first-person heist game, essentially Grand Theft Auto 5's heist mode, except an entire game around that. It does look a little bit dated because I believe the game was actually released initially back in 2012 or 2011, so it is pretty old at this point. It's been around for a very long time, but the game itself is great. Really, really fun game, and I think that's what it's about. The game looks deceptively meh, but the game plays exceptionally fun, and it's just a great game to play with friends. I'm definitely going to be going back to Payday 2 to get the Platinum Trophy in this game. I'm very keen to go back and do that. Let me know what you guys are picking up from this. Are you going to be grabbing any of these $5 cheap games? I went intentionally for anything under $5, just cheap stuff. And I've got a couple of other videos coming out, $10 games, things like that, which I'll release over the next couple of days if this video gets enough likes. Don't forget to go and hit that like button down below. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and I'll see you in the next video. Patreons! It is that time again. Thank you, each and every one of you popping up on the screen here for supporting me this month on Patreon. It is thanks to all of you that we can keep these lights on in the back of the studio. Without you, the lights wouldn't be on. So thank you so much for that. If you want to support me further on Patreon or as a channel member, you can hit the join button directly below this video on YouTube, or the link in the description down below to go over to Patreon and help support the channel. Thank you guys, you're all legends.